Hey YouTube, Justin and Cherish here. Figured I'd tell you what I did in my truck to help a disaster, what they call. They have disaster prevention kits, and they also have where you can just replace it's called the MPROP valve in the fuel system, which has a filter on it. The factory one is only a 25 micron filter, where you can buy the Exergy. It's a patent pending valve that they have, which has a double layer 25 micron filter, so it won't let any metal debris get past it. The factory one will, and if your CP4 pump fails, it will put metal shavings throughout the whole fuel system, costing you anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000, maybe even more. I'm not sure, but just from what I've read, it could be very costly. So what I did was I pretty much had to take the whole top of the engine apart, which is just the upper plenum, which is the black plastic thing here, and the lower plenum, which is here. And there's the turbo, the Terpsky they call them. But there's a lower intake there. You pretty much have to pull that off, and that sensor is just under the intake plenum, which is actually down under here. I can kind of see it, but in the video I don't think I can get it pulled up. Almost, but not quite. But anyways, that's where the sensor is. But yeah, if you have your truck deleted, it's much easier. You don't have the big EGR valve and all that sitting over here, so I have a lot more visibility to access things. So the CP4 pump comes in Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge. They're known to fail. They have a big lawsuit and all going on right now, but I don't think it's really going to get pushed to where Ford's actually going to recall them. So instead of me buying aftermarket fuel pump, which is about $1,500, I can buy the prevention kit and hope that mine will never fail, which if it does, at least I'll have the new valve on there to prevent metal shavings from getting throughout my system. But I figured I'd take a video and give you a little bit of description about it and how to take it off. It took me a couple hours, and that was me taking my time. You know, people probably could do it faster, but I just took my time since I've never done it before. I've done some reading on it and everything before that way I can kind of have a rough idea of what to unbolt and what to take off, this, that, and other. But I couldn't really find much except for the upper and lower intakes has to come off. But there's no brief description on exactly where the bolts are or what hoses to take off, this and that and other. So I just did a trial and error, did it myself. So I figured I'll take a video, maybe I can help other people take theirs off. So here we go. Since mine is deleted, I'm going to show you how I done it this way. I don't know, I might be skipping some procedures if your EGR valve and all that's still on there, but I'm just going to show you how I did mine. So first and foremost, I took my air intake, pull it back, which is that clamp here. I also did this pipe. It's the factory pipe still. So I get it on the truck. There's two little clips, one here and then one right there on the other side. Just take a little pry bar, pop the clip up, you'll hear a little snap, and it'll snap over here, and this hose right here come all out the way. Then unplug the sensor. This hose here was zippy tied from where I deleted everything, so I just put it, zippy tied to hold it there. I just took this, once this right here was out the way, I took this hose and put it underneath the throttle body here, so kind of get out of the way until I got everything off. Back here on the dipsticks, to access a couple of these upper plenum bolts, you pretty much have to take these dipsticks and push them out the way. So an 8mm bolt there, pull that bolt out, and this whole, both of these sticks will come over to the side just enough to take that back bolt, which is, you can barely see it, right underneath that dipstick, and there's another one in back behind here to get in. All that's 8mm. So there's 3 intake bolts on this side, one there, one there, one there. 3 over here on this side. One, 2. Actually, no, there's 4 over on this side. So take those loose. A couple right here, there, and a couple up here on the top. So just look around, take all those bolts out. Actually, they won't come out. They'll just, they're actually made, I guess, to stay in the intake. I couldn't really pull mine out. So once you take them loose, they're freely. They kind of jump up and down a little bit, but they won't come out of the intake. I think there's like a little lock or like some kind of lock ring or something up in there that holds it. But anyways, so you pull that out, and when I started pulling mine out, it kept getting hung on this hose. So I undone this hose, I push it over to the side. It's still getting hung up. There's a metal pipe come right here, and it goes down and under here. There's that 8mm bolt right there, and there's another one right there. Undo those. There's an O-ring that holds it over here on this side. I took a flathead screwdriver, I stuck it in between the mounting bracket that kind of holds the hose up in there, and I slowly kind of just wiggle it back and forth while putting pressure and push it backwards, and it popped the O-ring loose, and then that whole metal bracket came out. Then this whole upper plenum it came right out, no problem. Then this lower intake, which is this piece here, it was very easy to undo. So there's these 2 bolts here, one there, and this one. I think 1, 2, 3. I want to say there's 4 bolts. There might be another one underneath here somewhere, but I can't quite remember. But take those off, and then a couple clamps, which is undo. You got the boot that goes to the turbo. I undone that first clamp right here, and then right underneath the intake, you can't quite see it, but there's a boot, just like it goes to the turbo. There's a boot way up in there. There you go. You can see it right there. Undone that clamp bolt right there, and unplug. There's a wire right here. Unplug that wire. I left this assembly here on, and all I done was when I picked that lower intake up, I picked it up and just kind of laid it to the side, and the sensor's right there. 2 T25 store screws, and it came right out. Pulled the old sensor out, popped the new one in, and then put everything back together. So that's how you replace the sensor. If you guys have any questions or anything, comment. I'll be glad to help. Maybe one more thing I can tell you, that when you pop that hose loose, you'll have antifreeze. It's going to go everywhere. It'll pretty much fill that whole, not sure what would you call that, but right on top of the engine, it's like a block valley, I guess. All that will fill up with antifreeze. Don't worry, just once you get everything back together, I took a hose pipe and turned it down low and let the water, I put the hose pipe right here and just let the water run down there, and it kind of I just let it run and let everything just kind of drain out the back, and it just, you know, hit the ground, whatever, you know. I was in a garage, so I, you know, mopped it up and everything whenever I got done. I didn't do a whole lot. So you're gonna have to refill your bottle with antifreeze, which I didn't mind. It looks like I took it out this morning. It looks like it got low again, so I'm gonna have to top it back off with some more antifreeze. But that's pretty much it. I can't really think of anything else you should do. And I guess first and foremost, always disconnect your batteries before unplugging sensors and all that stuff. You know, that's number 1 mechanic rule. Some people do it. I don't all the time do it, but I did it this time just because, like I said, I took my time and I was in no rush to get it done. So I went ahead and unhooked mine and got to work. Like I said, it takes a couple hours. Not too bad. Probably the biggest headache is just leaning over this engine bay and trying to get everything done. You know, it wasn't too bad. All right, y'all have a good day.